Now moving on, it's World Matchplay time, which can only mean one other thing. It's prediction time. I want a dark horse, I want your 2 finalists, and who lifts the Phil Taylor Trophy a week from now on Sunday. Also, who's going to win the women's event? I don't know. Is there a name for that trophy yet?
We said it should be called the Stacey Bromberg Trophy, so hopefully the PDC will listen and get that sorted for us.
I forgot that. Yes, it should be. It definitely should be. So give me your prediction for the Stacey Bromberg Trophy as well.
All right, let's start with the dark horse then. And this is very tough. I was looking at what people are saying on social media, and there's a lot of talk about that second quarter of the draw, and a lot of the big names in there. You've got the likes of Michael Van Gerwen, Adrian Lewis, Joe Cullen, Damon Heta, James Wade, Martin Lukeman, Luke Humphries, Nathan Aspinall. That is such a tough quarter of the draw to pick from. So for me, if I'm going to go for a dark horse, I'm probably looking at the bottom half of the draw, and someone that we affectionately know as the handicapper's nightmare. I'm going to go with Daryl Gurney. He's 100-1 with the title sponsors Betfred. And for a player that's won 2 major titles in the past, I think that is a massive price. And we talked about players that you maybe didn't want to draw if you're an unseeded player. Gary Anderson was probably one of the players that the unseeded players would have more fancied to get. And okay, we all know that Gary Anderson could turn up and have another special week and win this tournament again, play near to his best. But if we're going off the last few years, it's probably more unlikely than it is likely. So I think that's a nice draw for Daryl Gurney to maybe get off the mark in that first round. And then it's either Danny Noppert or Brendan Dolan. And okay, we can't really write off either of those 2 players, maybe 2 of the most underrated players in the PDC going up against each other in that first round game. But I think Daryl Gurney's got a shot at getting through that one as well. And then it could maybe be Michael Smith in the quarterfinals. And over a long format, once he's got a couple of wins under his belt, maybe it could be a Daryl Gurney going even further. So he's going to be my dark horse for the unseeded players to maybe get through. But as far as a final for the World Matchplay, I'll pick out my semi-finalists as well. And I'll go with Rob Cross to make it through that third quarter of the draw. And he's going to go up against Michael Smith in a battle of the former World Cup teammates. And I'm going to go with Michael Smith to win that one, make a second World Matchplay final. Top half of the draw, second quarter, I'll get that one out of the way because it's such a tough one to call. But I'm going to go with an outsider for this one. I'm going to go with Nathan Aspinall to make the semi-finals, and he'll play Johnny Clayton in that semi-final in the top half of the draw. And I'm going to go with the Ferret to get through to his first World Matchplay final. And I think if we were to get a Johnny Clayton, Michael Smith final, if you were to offer it now to a lot of people, you'd say yes, please, because if they can serve anything like they did at Ali Pali at the end of last year, then we'll all be going home very happy from the end of the tournament. But as far as a winner, I think it's going to happen. We keep saying it all the time, either myself or you, Burton, but I'm going to back it this time again. I'm going to go with Michael Smith to get that first major title at the World Matchplay a week on Sunday. And as far as the Women's World Matchplay prediction, I've got to say I'm a little bit surprised to see the format best of 7 legs in the first round. I know that's the same as the women's series early rounds, but for a TV event, that does seem quite short to me and probably does open up the potential for more upsets if one of the outsiders like a Katie Sheldon or a Chloe O'Brien are going against the top 2 seeds. The pressure is going to be on Lisa Ashton, Fallon Sherrock to perform, get out the gate quick, and we could see some nervy first round games there, but I think the stage experience will win through this time, and I do think we get that dream final, if you like, Lisa versus Fallon, and best of 11 legs. The only thing I can hope for is that it does go all the way. It goes 5-all in a deciding leg, and yeah, we'll make a prediction. I think Fallon will get off to a strong start. Lisa's going to find a 180 from somewhere, get back in the leg, and she'll get a poke at a finish, maybe 2 singles to a double, 1 dart at the double, and she gets that double to win the title. So Michael Smith, Lisa Ashton, they are my World Matchplay champions for this year.
Well, I can make 2 guarantees. I can guarantee you that neither Michael Smith nor Lisa Ashton are winning the title because I'm also picking them.
No.
So it's absolutely ruined for both of them. There's no way either of them can, since we both are tipping them. But I am taking a slightly different route to get there, at least for Michael Smith. Because his first round match is definitely a potential bogey. Andrew Gilding is in phenomenal form. And I think the winner of that match can go far in this tournament, even if it's Andrew Gilding. But then again, even who gets to do that is probably going against Dirk van Dijvenbode in the second round, because Ryan Searle is struggling a bit right now. But man, Dirk van Dijvenbode has looked good this year. And he looks like a player who's ready to put that World Grand Prix runner-up to shame and take it one step further and win a major trophy at some point and some point soon. It is a brutal draw for Michael Smith. But the big thing for Michael Smith is that I think he's been doing it right for the last month or so. He was dominant, winning those back-to-back Players' Championship events, winning the night in the Premier League, winning the World Series event in New York. He looked like the best player in the world. And when we had Christopher Kemp on, he said, right now, he's the best player in the world. I disagreed, but I thought he was the second best at that time. I still thought Johnny Clayton was the best then. Johnny Clayton's regressed a little since then. I don't think Michael Smith has regressed. I think he realized that he needed a break, or at least a little bit of a break, because he knew you can't really get much better than what he did over those couple weeks. But he also didn't want to come into the match play rusty. And that's why we saw him play in the Players' Championships this week, but skip a couple of the Euro Tours, skip some of the other stuff. I don't think he was, I could be wrong, and he could say differently, but from what I saw when I was watching him, I think he was playing those matches just to stay match sharp, not to go in. I mean, if he won the title, great, but I don't think he was going in necessarily thinking, I need to win one of these 4 titles. I think he went in thinking, I just need to stay sharp and get some matches so that I am where I was a few weeks ago and ready for the World Matchplay. And I think if that's the case, he has done exactly what he needed to do by playing those matches just to make sure that he had match sharpness. He is more mature than he's ever been, and he's better than he's ever been. And this is his week. Well, except for the fact that we're both picking him, so it cannot be his week. But other than that, this would be his week. As far as for the semifinal, well, that's where my dark horses come in, because I've talked about Martin Schindler earlier. I still think he's a dark horse. I still think he can beat Gerwyn Price, but also Dave Chisnell, who, okay, he's a seed, but he's the 15 seed, and if things go to form, you'd think based on seeding he'd lose, but he's playing pretty well right now. Whoever gets through that Dave Chisnell-Martin Schindler match, I think should be the favorite in their quarterfinal against any of the 4 potential players that they could meet. And that's not to insult any of those 4. I just think right now Dave Chisnell and Martin Schindler are playing better than those 4. So I'm going to throw those 2 out as my dark horse, at least in this half of the draw. There's a few others. I mean, Dirk van Dijvenbode and Andrew Gilding certainly are dark horses. And if one of them ended up in the final, I wouldn't be all that surprised. But I'm still going with Michael Smith in the bottom half. For the top half, I'm not going Johnny Clayton right now. I think there are question marks in his game right now. I think he will right that. I think he's too good and too confident in his abilities now to let it be a long-term slide. But I think right now his game's not where it needs to be to make the final. Might not even be where it needs to be to beat surging Roby John Rodriguez. From the top half, though, I'm going to go for, well, player who probably is the favorite in the top half right now, Luke Humphries. I just think Luke Humphries is playing that well. And as good as a Michael Smith, Johnny Clayton final would be, a Michael Smith, Luke Humphries final has the potential to be the match of the year because they are the 2 best players over the last couple months. Luke Humphries has been the best player all year on stage. Michael Smith has been, well, the best player all year on stage too. That would be an amazing final. For a dark horse, though, from the top half, is there really a dark horse here? It's just such a brutally good field that is Peter Wright a dark horse? Can you call the defending champ and world number 1 a dark horse? Maybe you can, just because of how brutally difficult this top half of the draw is. I'm not going to pick a dark horse from the top half. I've picked 4 from the bottom half. I'm going for a Luke Humphries against Michael Smith final and Michael Smith to win it. And as I said, I'm agreeing with you on the women's side, but I think Lisa Ashton wins it a little bit more comfortably. Fallon Sherrock has been struggling recently. We don't know which Fallon Sherrock we're going to get, but we do know which Lisa Ashton we're going to get. It's a player who can and will beat anyone in this field. I think she averages close to, if not north of 90, and she wins 6-2 or 6-3.